Yo, yo, mofos! It is me again. Hello! And I am today 12 hours past my intended time. So I am going to make a promise to myself that I will come on with live with you every day, irrespective of the time. And then I'm giving myself a bit of grace. So today it just so happens that it's 9:30 p.m. UK, and that is as good as it gets. So, what I want to talk to you about today is a question I've had from the lovely Lulu. And it's almost a trick question, really. It's not. It's a genuine question. It's what's the fastest way? What is, in my common accent, the fastest way to grow an audience? Now, I want to address something first, right? And I am a big believer in keeping it real. So, I've talked about this a little bit before, and you've probably heard me say it, is that, and if you haven't, welcome to this new sentence you're going to hear from me, is that I've worked with a lot of incredibly successful entrepreneurs and have been blessed and honoured to do so and be part of their world and learn from them and help them grow and all that stuff, and grow myself as a result, right? And the consistent common factor, the most obvious factor in what most people would deem as success, i.e., big audience, high turnover, great business that they love, ideal clients, is one thing, and that is consistency. And this is a great question, the fastest way to grow a new audience, but it's also one where we need to manage our expectations. So it depends what you mean by fast. So yes, you can grow an audience fast, but the truth is, in order to get a solid business, if you're starting from scratch, this is, in order to get a solid business that is going to generate you a great audience, consistent leads, all of that stuff, you are realistically talking about 2 years, right? And I know, you've got people that say you can have six figures in 6 minutes and all of that stuff. And yeah, you might, right? You might. Ironically, in my very first business back in 2011, I did make six figures very quickly. However, I was contracting into big businesses and charged project fees. Right? So if you want to do that, it's far easier than like selling courses or one-to-one, etc., etc. Right? Not saying it's impossible. It's not impossible. But what I'm saying is you have to be realistic. And in terms of audience, that's not audience, right? That's cash in the bank. So, and even so, when you're doing projects like that, that money has to go somewhere, right? It has to go towards resources to help you run that business. So it doesn't mean that just because a business has made, so mine was in, I think it was 13 or 14 months, it made 236,000. And believe me, that's not what was in my personal bank account. So that's also an important factor to learn about business, right? So a lot of that was invested back into the business, and actually I probably earned less than I did when I worked in corporate at that time. Learned a lot since then. That was many moons ago. So back to the thing: the fastest way to grow an audience, and the number one thing, as I said, with people that are successful in what we deem successful in this stuff, this results orientated world, is consistency. Right? So you have to be consistent. You have to put yourself out there consistently and talk about that thing you want to put out there consistently every day, each day, every day. And you have to do that often. And guess what? You have to add a call to action. So you actually have to tell people what you want them to do. So whether that's sign up to your email list, download your freebie, come join a challenge, look at a sales page, book a call with you, watch a video, whatever it might be, you have to have a call to action often. And don't keep changing them. Don't sell like 15 things at once. Like I said, 90 days, sell one thing consistently for 90 days. And if you do that consistently, you're going to grow your audience. But you have to have somewhere to capture it, right? So Remember that any platform that is not your own is not your audience. You might have followers, you might have connections, you might have likes, you might have shares even, but they're not your audience. So a really important factor is you need somewhere to capture their information. So that could be from a freebie, that could be from them going on a waiting list for something, that could be them for registering for a challenge, that could be booking a call. But when they enter that information, you have to have somewhere to capture them, because that means um, as long as someone subscribes to your information, you've got the right to capture them, right? So that's really important that you have that in place. Right? So how you grow that audience is, number one, you've got to generate content that's of interest to them. And that's not always education. In actual fact, people have got to feel that you see, hear, and understand them. So you don't have to give, right? But what you must do is help your viewers feel seen, heard, and understood, right? And that's consistently. Number two is you've got to offer value and give them something that they can have, and which in turn they will happily provide their email to you. Number three, you've got to nurture them, right? So if someone has signed up for something, are you sending them consistent emails to keep them informed, to tell them what's coming up, to offer them products and services that could help them further? And number four, you've got to sell, right? You've got to give them the opportunity to work with you in whatever way that is, so they can experience more of that result they want. And you can do that in many formats, right, in content. So you can do written posts, you can do polls, you can ask questions, you can do videos, you can do podcasts, you can do, there's probably other things that I'm forgetting, but there's many ways that you can stay in communication. But the important thing is that when they come in, even if they haven't paid, that you're nurturing them, and then you sell them, and then when they buy, you nurture them even more and give them the best client experience. And then when they're having the best client experience, you tell them about the next thing you do, and on you go in a round and round circle. But you have to be passionate enough about what you do to keep people invested, to keep people involved, to help them to want to stay in your audience, right? And that happens predominantly by A, being consistent, and B, most importantly, helping them to feel seen, heard, and understood. And a lot of the time, we have to get out our own way and stop making it about us. And remember that a whole reason primarily for doing what we do is for that person that really needs to hear what we've got to share today. So, in a roundabout way, that is the fastest, loosely, way to grow an audience. But you've got to understand and be compassionate with yourself that this might take a little bit of time, but nurture the audience you do have. And when you show up in that way, when you show up in a service-based space, not giving your everything, but when you're there, being totally committed to that person, you can't help but grow, because people are going to also tell other people about you and give testimony to how you help them, right? So that is how you grow your audience. So hopefully that helps. It might not be the fastest, but it's definitely the best. Could you buy an audience? Yes. Are they going to stick around and buy your stuff? No. So it truly is consistent, valuable content that makes your clients feel seen, heard, and understood. So I hope that helps and answers your question. And if you've got any more questions, pop them in the comments below and I'll be more than happy to answer them. Send you lots of love. Mwah.